Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. Over the last few updates, we've been talking consistently about how if we were to hold 25K, this spells a massive breakout is coming for Bitcoin that is sure descended into new highs upwards of $40,000 and $50,000. As you guys can tell, Bitcoin is broken out once again. We have retested 25K as support and we are now breaking back above near $30,000. This is exactly what I expected to happen once 25K was held. Now that we're breaking out again, I've got a very important update to share with you guys that's going to perfectly talk about where we're going to expect to see Bitcoin to be headed over the next 1 to 2 months and how we can best go about capitalizing on this massive move that's ahead. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, the day is finally here. Bitcoin is broken out. We have successfully held 25K as support, and we now have confirmation of exactly the way that Bitcoin is headed. We have been talking extensively for the last 2 months as we've been inside of this entire range here, waiting to determine whether 25K and the August highs were going to hold as support, or whether we were going to break down and that level become resistance. And as you guys can tell, we have most definitely had a confirmed breakout. We broke out of all descending resistance. This itself kind of looks like some type of wedge. Regardless, I'm not drawing a chart pattern. I'm just sharing with you guys. We broke out of descending resistance. We flipped 25K as support, and we now have our first true higher high of the new bull cycle. And the reason I say the first true higher high is because in every bull run, you guys have to understand some basic things. How do we know it's a bull run? How do we know it's a bear market? How do we know when the trend has shifted one way or another? This is something that's really simple to follow, yet most people don't understand it. And so we're gonna go through that real quickly right now. Now, right off the bat, guys, in a downtrend, you're gonna have lower lows and lower highs, right? The market is trending below a descending resistance, and then every time it hits the descending resistance, it makes a lower low, right? And that's the way we would dictate a downtrend. Now, once the downtrend has ended, the way we know a downtrend has ended is once the price has broken out of descending resistance and it starts acting as new support, right? We broke out of the descending resistance here, and then that is the trend reversal. That's what we look for when determining when the direction of the market has shifted. Now, another thing that we look for to determine when the direction has shifted has been our first higher high. So inside of the bear trend, notice how we'll have a support level, and then we'll lose that support level, right? Support, resistance, and then we make a lower low. And then the same kind of thing will happen. Support, resistance, lower low. Now, the way that we know when the true bull run has started is when the prior support, which is now resistance, we break back above, and then we actually hold that back as support again. And once we get that, that confirms that the new trend has shifted, and then you'll get the opposite. Instead of lower lows and lower highs, you'll get higher highs and higher lows. That's the way that we dictate trend reversals and trend changes inside of a market. Now, when we're looking at Bitcoin, Bitcoin already broke out of its descending resistance leading up into the FTX collapse. The FTX collapse was us actually retesting descending resistance as trending support. So we actually saw that at the peak point of what was actually financial gain, what everybody thought was the end of the market, where everybody, like that crypto capo guy, was drawing everything down to like 8K and stuff. All of those people that have been expecting lower lows, all of that, was actually the buying opportunity. And that was us retesting the descending resistance as support, right? And so we got our trend reversal right here at the same time of our 4-year cycle low, at the end of the year, November 2022. That was where we got the point where the warning sign was there saying, hey, buy the dip. We just broke out of descending resistance and flipped it as support. Yet most people weren't willing to do that because of all of the fear that was inside of the market. Now, what the next thing we needed to see was a higher high, right? So a higher high, we go to our resistance level. Our first resistance level of the bear market would technically, our first real resistance level of the bear market would have been this first consolidation in that 25K level, right? And so not only did we break out of descending resistance, But then we broke out of 25K and made our first higher high of the new bull trend and flipped that as support. And now we're seeing continuation. So if you are somebody that was skeptical about the direction of Bitcoin, if you were somebody that was expecting Bitcoin to make a new low, I'm here to tell you that you're a silly buffoon and you should not be thinking this, because now, I mean, if you were already thinking that, I already thought you were a silly buffoon. But if you're thinking that now after we've successfully flipped 25K, after we flipped the descending resistance, after we got our 4-year cycle low at the exact bottom of the bear market that was 4 years from the exact bottom of the last bear market, there's too many reasons to be bullish. That's why I was leaning towards us holding support here, even though the market kept getting, kind of sketchy. I told you guys from the beginning, as long as we were above 25K, we were bullish. And as long as we were able to hold this level, then we were going to expect a move back up to 29,000. And that's pretty much exactly what we saw. In fact, we've already hit 30,000 within this day. So as it stands, the market is bullish, guys. And if you guys remember to what my other videos were, we were talking about how once we flip 25K as support, that marks the blow off top. And I still firmly believe that. My targets for the ending of this cycle are either going to be 48K or 40K right here. And I believe that that's where we're headed into this blow off top. And it'll be very similar to the move that we saw in 2019. Remember, guys, once we broke above this major psychological resistance, in this case it was 6K back in our last cycle, we saw this big blow off top that ensued. And it was really this first sell-off after breaking out, and then we saw the blow off top. I believe that we're inside of this final point for that blow off top, and us flipping 25K was the same as this move where we've pretty much flipped 8K and pulled back. Now, I do believe that this is going to be the final run in our cycle, or at least this short-term run in the beginning of our bull run. And then after that, we'll have some type of longer-term consolidation pattern before probably not really getting anything too crazy until sometime into the middle point of next year, or at least the end of this year would be my guess. But I'm honestly anticipating that we're going to see this final run up. And if you start to see the market of Bitcoin hitting $40,000 and $50,000, I think it's a very, very smart decision to take some profit. Take some profit, because if you don't take any profit and we run up to 40 and 50K and then we make, let's just say a 40% pullback. Let's say that we run up to 48K and then we make a 40% pullback. You're looking at a reversion all the way back to basically this 29K level again. So do you want to round trip the entirety of that move, or do you want to take some profit, put some money in cash, wait for the market to kind of calm down, and then you can jump back in? I mean, there's really no bad option when taking profit, because even if you're taking profit, let's say that you don't even take profit at 40K, you take profit somewhere right before that. I don't think you're going to go wrong, because assuming that this really is the blow off top, like I think it will be, at least in the short term, we're going to go through a long period of correction. And even if Bitcoin corrects 25 to 30%, we don't go all the way to 40%, altcoins will correct 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90%. And you guys got to remember that. If you've been holding an altcoin that just had its first cycle of all time, and you're up, 3, 5, 10x or more, maybe even just 1x, it's important that you take some of that profit. At least take out your initial investment, because if the market decides to turn south on you, you've got at least what you invested. And then, if you lose all your profit, whatever, at least you have your money that you can go back into a new investment. But I think it's really, really important that in the early portion of this cycle, especially while I believe we're about to see a huge markup, being a blow off top to finish this first move, now is a really great opportunity to be able to lock up some of that profit that we made by accumulating down in here. Take some of it. You don't have to take all of it by means. You don't even have to take half. But I would take a big chunk off the table, pay yourself, keep some money for taxes, and then keep some money that you can buy that dip. Because when the market corrects, if you're holding some of these altcoins that just had their first cycles, some of them are going to correct 80, 90% inside of their very first sell-offs. And so you're going to really be mad at yourself if you weren't the one taking some of that profit, because you're going to watch some of these investments go way down to the levels you never thought were possible. And you're going to be kicking yourself, because you're going to be saying, man, if I would have just taken 10% of my profit, I would have been able to quadruple and, whatever, double up on my bag 50 times over, whatever it is. I'm telling you guys, as somebody who's experienced this is my third cycle. Now that we're marking up, now that we're getting this big breakout, I think it's really important we're talking about these things now, just so that we're level-headed. Because once this hype comes in, and if we really are about to start to see a big blow-off top like I think we are, all bets out the window. Everybody's going to be freaking out, buying everything. And now we need to be talking about this more than ever before so that we're at least aware, so that we don't make those same mistakes, so that we're at least aware of our own emotional psychology, so that when we start to see ourselves acting in these irrational ways, we can stop ourselves. So that's what I'm thinking about with Bitcoin. With ETH, it's a lot of the same stuff. With ETH, man, guys, altcoins this cycle are really setting up for something special, and I'm really excited to be able to experience this with you guys. What I love about altcoins and ETH specifically is the fact that ETH never broke down below its June capitulation, right? ETH capitulated, made its all-time low at 879, and that was June of 2022. When the FTX collapse happened, ETH never made a lower low, right? So what we're seeing here with altcoins and with ETH is something vastly different than prior cycles. We never saw this happen in the prior cycles. Bitcoin outperformed massively in those cycles. And so even though Bitcoin has still been, outperforming altcoins and Ethereum, what we're seeing with Ethereum has been probably the most clear and easy to identify uptrend in the comparison of all the markets. Bitcoin has made a big breakout. Bitcoin's doing well. Ethereum itself has never made a new low, below its June low, and we've maintained this higher highs and higher lows. And this type of price action looks like some type of triangle. And I do believe that once we break out of this $20 or $2,000 level, I think it's a given that ETH is going to have some serious markup up to 35 and 3,600. And it's going to behave in a similar way that I expect for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin runs up to 48,000, I think it's a given that ETH's going to run up to 35 and 36. And you never know, guys, with how much better support ETH has been holding this cycle, we could see ETH even overextend and maybe go up to this high up here. I would not be surprised to see ETH overextend. If we see Bitcoin run to 48,000, I will not be the least bit surprised to see ETH actually overextend and run upwards of 40 or 4,000. It's just a little crazy because we don't know exactly what to expect, just because ETH has done better than Bitcoin has up to this point. And I think that that's something that's going to continue to play out over this cycle. I'm a firm believer that this cycle will be so much more profitable for altcoins. It will rival 2017 in comparison. And I've continued to say that. I will continue to say that because I cannot explain to you guys how much I genuinely believe that that's going to be the case. This cycle will be the biggest of all time. In my opinion, if you're going to be here to be early for a crypto cycle with the opportunity of making a bunch of money and getting rich and making financial fortune for your family to retire and everybody, this is the cycle where you need to buckle down, where you need to actually make it happen, because this is my third cycle. I've made a lot of mistakes going into my first two cycles. I made a lot of money in my last cycle as well. So I've been able to see the highs and the lows, and the most important thing for this cycle is to have a plan, stick to that plan, and simply have the conviction to hold while we're at this portion of the cycle. Now, I know I just said at the beginning of this video to take profits if we run up, and I do think that we should do that. But I think right now specifically, everything that we've been doing, all the stuff that we've been buying and accumulating, it's basically waiting for a big type of a move to happen, whether that's the move to $3,600 and Bitcoin to 48,000, or whether that's you holding 2-3 years as we're going into new all-time highs. No matter what way, you will win. But the big thing is to have conviction to hold 3 years down the line. That's my plan, holding 3 years. I am going to lock up some heavy profits if we do this type of a move. But, I don't think that's anything that would catch anybody off guard. I think that's to be expected if you want to lock up some of that profit. So in the same way that we took a good amount of profit up here and bought this dip, I'm going to be looking to take a good amount of profit up here and buy whatever dip happens after that. My guess is we'd probably see a 40% sell-off, because if we're looking and comparing prior cycles, guys, just to give some finishing touches to this video, our last cycle had a 72% correction. I'm not anticipating the same, but you never know. In our last cycle of 2016 and 2017, it was pretty much a mix of 40 and 35% corrections the whole way up. So that was a 40% sell-off. This one was probably about the same. Yeah, about 40% even. So all of our sell-offs in 2016 and 2017 were almost the exact same, anywhere from 30 to 40%. So anytime the nice upside stops of this short-term trend, we're going to expect to see kind of the same sort of thing, right? 40% corrections are pretty much a given inside of any of our bull cycles, and I don't think that this cycle is going to differ by any means. In fact, if we run all the way up to $40,000 and $48,000, I think that it's pretty much a given we're going to have a 40% correction after that. So remember, guys, at 40K, per Bitcoin. A 40% correction takes us all the way back down to basically $24,000. If we run all the way back up to $48,000, then we're looking at, about $29,000 as that topping or bottoming point. So just anticipate some, volatility. The higher we go, the deeper the correction on the downside. Lock up some of that profit, but at the same time, don't be too scared to hold right now, because we are, focused on the long term of the trend. But anyways, guys, now that everything's breaking out, I really think that everything's a go for the bull season. I already knew that with the 4-year cycle flashing by, but now that we've, flipped 25K, I think that was really the last line of defense that the bears had. It was the last line of support for the bulls, and the bulls held it. So obviously that gives us the confirmation and the direction as far as where we're headed next. So if you guys found value in this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these updates. If you guys want to join the Discord server, download my ebook, follow all the trades that I take over this cycle. Links are in the description for that. Thank you all so much for the support. I appreciate each and every one of you. I love each and every one of you, and my ultimate goal for this is to see you guys make a lot of profit. I see the markets playing out in a lot of the same ways that I've always seen them play out, and I could not be more optimistic, specifically for all of you guys watching this channel, because that's why I do this. I'm going to be getting more into kind of teaching format videos, so if you've stayed all the way to the end of this video to hear me kind of talk and rant around, I do want to hear your guys' perspective on that, because when I started this channel, it was, me teaching only. I didn't really do a lot of TA. And then as my channel grew, it kind of morphed into doing more TA and covering altcoins and stuff. So what I personally wanted to kind of migrate my channel, because for me, I've just haven't been finding as much passion inside of doing TA. I still love doing this channel, and I'm not going to quit by any means, but I'm not having as much fun doing the normal TA stuff. And so I did want to kind of branch out and figure out another way that I could make content that would bring value to you guys, but then also, most importantly, make me feel more fulfilled about doing the whole thing. Because if I'm excited to get up and record something, the videos are just so much better. Everything flows way better. They're quicker. They're easier. Everything's simple, right? And so what I kind of wanted to do was to actually start talking more about educational stuff, doing token reviews, doing chain dives of information, whatever it is, and anything that I think is valuable, that I foresee having a good, value proposition over the bull run. That's kind of what I wanted to cover. So if you guys want to learn some of these stuffs, if you guys want to learn anything that's, aside from TA, that's going to be a little bit more fundamental analysis, really going into projects, specifics, covering some of these details of technology that, probably a lot of you guys don't even know the slightest bit of. So if that's interesting to you, I have learned quite a bit in the last few years, and I've always told you guys, as well as myself and people close to me, the best way to learn is to actually teach the things that you're learning back to other people. And so, the last couple of years I've learned a lot about technologies, and so I kind of wanted to be able to teach that back to you guys, not so much as a way of just, enforcing that knowledge for me, but also to be able to give that back to you guys. I think that it's a really good value. I think it's a lot of value inside of some of that work. So that's kind of my plan. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments if you guys are wanting to get some of that content. And yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. And with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.